I want to talk to you guys about gaming feels. So essentially, we do this because we love video games, and we collect because we love video games. But how far is too far? And at what point are you collecting just to collect, and you've kind of forgotten about why you enjoy the hobby in the first place? So, let's dance. So, there was recently a post on a Facebook group that I'm part of, which specifically is geared towards video games, retro video games. And one of the members, founding fathers, if you will, kind of challenged everybody to play something that they haven't played. So, I think as a general collector, we have this need to want to pick up video games. This need to want to grab things that we haven't seen, haven't played. There are different aspects of this collecting game. So first you have resellers. Resellers. Those are people that know what's valuable, pick it up on the cheap if they can, and then they flip it. And they specifically flip it to make a profit. So you've got that type of collector. Next up, we have ourselves the complete collector. Now this is a collector that wants one of, or if not two, of everything in existence. That means complete collections of Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Xbox. You get the deal. So with that collector, they've got an end goal in mind, so I get it. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're collecting to play all of their video games, but they are collecting to have a end goal, which would be a complete collection. Totally understand. Now, within those two realms, you've got a large group at that point that is going after video games. Now, this means they're going after things on eBay and Craigslist and OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace and all of these places that you normally find games. They are collecting. Unfortunately, there is a group that fits into this that don't hit either category. They're not collecting for a complete collection, and they're not really collecting to flip. Those, as discussed in our gamer group, would be hoarders. Let me explain. So, hoarders. A game hoarder, which could call themselves a collector, those are the people that are picking up games all the time, 24/7, and just to build the collection. Now, it's awesome to build the collection, but what is the end goal? So I actually watched a video recently on YouTube that talked about collecting goals or strategies, something along that line. But the whole point of the video was that you started your first collection, which was when you initially got into video games. Your second collection, where you just grew it into a mass that you just cannot contain anymore, where you're never going to play the games. And then your collection, what they call collection 3.0, is where you really want it to be. So that means all the games that you either remember because you play them from your childhood, or because you're a tech head and you enjoy that aspect of gaming, or because in general, gaming was just fun to you, so you just gobbled up everything that you could. Unfortunately, when you get to that stage, when you're just a game hoarder, which I will be honest, I have found myself teetering on that line every now and again, you need to step back a little bit and realize what you have behind you. Now, I'm looking at close to 3,000 games, something like that. Have I played all of these? Absolutely not. Is my goal to play them? Hopefully eventually. But in that aspect of it, I have found myself sometimes grabbing a lot or a big bundle of games in general that it's awesome because I get a huge stack of games, but that doesn't mean anything if I'm not going to play it, if I'm not going to enjoy what I have. You know, I don't want this stuff to be stuff that I just look at all the time. That's not beneficial to me. It's not beneficial to my pocketbook. It was a really good call out on this post, which actually just talked about playing what you have. So I want to talk about the games that are behind me. I'm actually going to do 5. We'll do 5 games that are behind me that I have a memory that means a lot to me and which got me in love with video games. Whether it was a fond memory or something that kind of blew my mind, These are the games within my collection that made me fall in love with video games or made me enjoy this hobby in the first place. So, let me go through this list. Story time. First game. That is Killer Instinct. Stupid light. God dang it. Okay, let's try this again, okay? Killer Instinct. Why is this game important to me? Well, when I got my Super Nintendo, I used to go over to my friend's house all the time. His name was Adam. And the very first game that we ever threw in and played nonstop all through the night was Killer Instinct. This is important to me because my friendship with my oldest friend ever was part of this gaming history. So playing it at his house, playing it throughout the night, set up to like a little 13-inch television on his bedroom floor, and we would just throw down. I think my main was Cinder, and his was probably, I think, Orchid or Combo. I don't remember, but the track was awesome. So this came with a CD called Killer Cuts, and it is actually still to this day an awesome album. Killer Instinct, definitely awesome memories of this game. If you haven't played it, worth your time. Check it out. Let's go. Okay, next memory, super awesome. This was Captain Skyhawk. So this is the very first game that I built my own cockpit. So that means as a kid, I took a bunch of pillows and I set them up around a chair, and I got really close to the television and I pretended that I was Captain Skyhawk. And I remember to this day, they were like old 1980s, like burnt orange red sofa pillows that I pulled off, created this awesome cockpit around me, and then I had that original joystick. Hold on. This guy right here. This joystick. Imagine me, I'm sitting in this homemade cockpit playing Captain Skyhawk with this thing, and I thought that I was the coolest pilot in the world. Tell you what, Captain Skyhawk, and it's not even that great of a game, even though it had kind of a cool isometric view, but the memories that come from these games is what it's all about. This is actually not a bad joystick, by the way. So, true story. I'm going to college, right? No, I'm seeking out colleges to go to. So I wanted to go to film school, and I wanted to be a big director, like everybody that goes to film school wants. And when I did that, I toured a school. I walked through the hallways of this location. Hold on, this is shaking too much for me. Hold, please. Let's try this again. Oh God. Oh God. Ottomans are hard, I'll tell you. So, I'm going through this college, okay? And I get to go down into the student lounge. And right next to the student lounge is a Nintendo 64. Hold on. That's this guy right here. If you didn't know what a Nintendo 64 was and you're watching this channel, you're welcome. So, with this, the Nintendo 64, okay? That machine was sitting in the student lounge, and that's when I knew this was the place for me. I kid you not, I made my college decision for the most part on the fact that they had a Nintendo 64 in their student lounge. That school got all of my money because number one, it was a film school. Number two, it had a Nintendo 64. I'm telling you, awesome. Next one. I was not finished with that story yet. That 64 is sitting in the student lounge, and I had a gem of a gem, and that was Smash Brothers. Super Smash Bros. So I would spend countless hours in that student lounge playing Smash Brothers. I basically held the table the entire time. My main was Ness, and everybody came to play, and I basically spent the majority of my college years being a champion at Super Smash Brothers. Now, when I play it online with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I get my ass kicked. Can't be good at everything for all the time. Put that on a t-shirt. Cool. Next one. Welcome back. I was just on the other side of the room, and then I came here, and now you guys are following me. So, here we go. This one is not necessarily a fond memory, but a memory nonetheless. So that would be Assassin's Creed 2. So why is this one give me a little bit of anxiety? Well, let me tell you, my friends. Assassin's Creed 2 was the first game that I ever rage quit. Like, legit threw the controller against the wall, super angry. Here's the story. In the beginning of this game, it's a little bit of a tutorial and you are just chasing your brother around. There, for some reason, I could not get past this one path, or I didn't realize where I was supposed to follow him. And I did this over like 30 freaking times, maybe 50 times. My wife was sitting next to me and I could not catch up to him no matter what I did. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how it was broken. I'm like, I am not this bad at games. What is going on? I finally got to a point, I just threw that controller, smashed it. Very, very angry. I finally got past it. And I don't know what I did. I think I just followed an arrow or probably something I was supposed to do in the tutorial before I was impatient gentleman that doesn't read instructions. Assassin's Creed 2, you are a memory and a nightmare, so thank you very much. Let's keep going. Sega, Sonic 2. This is an awesome memory for a couple different reasons. Number one, my sister, who I love dearly, this was a bonding time for us. So we were kind of like those kids that played a little rough. She would say I played rougher than she did because I was a big brother that tormented her. Sorry, sis, love you. But this gave us an opportunity to actually play together. So with Sonic, she was Tails that kind of just ran around, and I was Sonic. But I remember we absolutely loved the music to this game. Still do to this day, and I think it stays with a lot of people that played Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So that memory is awesome because this always reminds me of the time that we sat down with a tape deck. We recorded the songs off of Sonic from the television, and then I pretended that I was a radio DJ with my sister, and we would play the Sonic the Hedgehog songs. So it made a lot of sense to me as a kid. Whatever. So guys, cool. Let's wrap it up. Guys, bonus time. This game, I remember, I'm pretty sure that I skipped school to play this game. And I remember two different scenarios from this game, and if you've played it, I'm sorry, spoiler alert here. First, Psycho Mantis, and if you know what I'm talking about, that was the coolest experience ever, and that was on Metal Gear Solid. So, if you saw my last video, I was able to hear David Hayter and Cam Clark talk, which was the coolest experience, especially if you're a fan of the Metal Gear Solid series. But this game, there was a couple scenarios. Psycho Mantis, in that scenario, you have to use the other controller to break free from his weird psycho spell stuff. Another thing, one of the most scariest parts of this game is Raven, and he has a huge Gatling gun and he's stomping around, and it is probably the scariest thing that I had ever played at that time. It freaked me the hell out. But here is a really cool memory. So I loved Metal Gear Solid so much. I printed out a hint and tips guide that I got online. Unfortunately, this doesn't actually say where the URL was, but I wanted to share it with you guys because this is the best thing ever. So this is here. This is my Metal Gear Solid hint guide. So it had Meryl and Snake on the side, and then all of the areas, all of the areas there. I'm just gonna switch it, hold on. So right here, okay, you've got all of the areas. This was of 12 pages. It kind of walked you through the cargo dock, the heliport. Guys, this is what you had to do back in the day. Like, you went online and you had to print it out because it would take so long to load the pages, and it would give you your guide and walkthrough to how to finish Metal Gear Solid. So I have kept this around as an homage to my love for this series, which is awesome. If you have anything like that, please share it with me, because it is the coolest thing to find stuff like this that you printed out as a kid, stapled it. Look at these sweet staples. I stapled that terribly. God, I think I stapled on the wrong side. What a weirdo. So anyway, back to me. So guys, that is my little trip down memory lane. I know I did a memories video with Sega Genesis, but I thought that this was pretty cool to talk about, as we get so wrapped up in collecting games, like behind me, that we forget why we did it in the first place. And these memories are a reason why I love video games and why I've been a gamer for so long, and why I've ramped up my collection is because I want to create new memories with my daughter and create new memories for games that I haven't played. So I always want to keep that in the back of my head when I'm collecting, make it worth my time, and make sure that I'm not going too overboard on the collection. So every now and again, slow down, play what you have, and enjoy your collections, guys. So thank you so much for watching my stupid content. If you guys like what I have going on, please subscribe to this channel, and I will catch you guys next time I turn this sucker on. Bye. Ow.